So we're in the month of Adar, of Pisces, and this full moon we are celebrating Purim. Purim! Where do we even start? How do we even start? How do we even start with Adar and Purim? This month, according to the Sefer Yetzirah, Kuf is the letter, spleen is the organ, laughter is the sense, and Naftali is the tribe. So if we think about laughter, what makes something funny is when we're expecting a certain outcome and then something else happens that is unexpected, and that's what makes us laugh. So that is the energy of this month, right? Like something totally unexpected. And it makes me think about laughter in the Torah, which takes us back to Abraham and Sarah. You know, Abraham is being promised these blessings by God, saying that you are going to be as numerous as the stars and as numerous as the sand on the sea and on the beach. And he's married to someone, to Sarah, who's barren, who can't have a child. And then these angels come to visit Abraham one day, and they're like, you are going to give birth to a son with Sarah, and you are going to name him Yitzchak. And Sarah laughs at this, right? Because she's old. They're 100, which, by the way, Kuf, numerologically is 100. So Sarah laughs at this because she's like, this is impossible. I'm barren, I'm old, I'm not having my periods, and like, how is this even possible? And then the name of that child is Yitzchak, which means like laughter, to laugh. And so it's interesting to me that there's something about the lineage here, the lineage of the Yehudim, the Jews that come from Abraham and Yitzchak, that laughter is the through which we come. Okay, it's through that laughter. And then also Kuf, if you spell it out, means monkey. And so we can even go back even further down the line where we have this biological evolution from monkeys. And if we go even further and further down the line, we get to a place where we get to our very source energy, which is, you know, Purim itself, the theme of Purim itself, which is getting to a space of not knowing the difference between Haman and Mordechai, not knowing the difference between good and evil. And that space and that knowing is something that is related to, and perhaps can say it is the deepest sense of simcha, of our happiness, of our joy. And that lineage is laughter. Purim and Yom Kippur are related, right? Yom Kippur is a day like Purim, Yom Kippurim, and here we are on Purim itself. On Yom Kippur, it's the holiest and happiest day in the human calendar, in the Jewish calendar, the day of forgiveness, of atonement, of at-one-ment. And we also cast lots in the service in the Beit HaMikdash. There were 2 goats that came, and there was a lot that was cast, and said, this goat is going to Azazel, and this goat is going to the service in the Beit HaMikdash. And on Purim, we have a situation where we read Megillat Esther, this book of Esther, and lots were cast there also. But this time they were cast by Haman, the antagonist in the story, and he cast lots to decide a day that the Jewish people are going to be destroyed, that genocide is going to happen. And that day was the 14th of Adar, the full moon in Adar. And what landed up happening was there was an hafochu, right? That everything turned upside down, opposite, that the day that there was going to be destruction, that ended up being the day that Haman himself was killed and the Jewish people were saved, thanks to Queen Esther. And Mordechai, of course. We can go through really difficult, challenging periods, and things can really happen to us in this human experience. Right? There is suffering here. there are hard things that happen, and the healing, the החלמה that can happen when we allow ourselves to expand into that consciousness of adelo yada, of not knowing, of this transcendence of good and evil. And I feel that that can maybe be the relationship to the spleen, because the spleen is an organ that is filtering the blood, that our blood cells come through, and anything that is looking funky or cells that are breaking down get then like filtered out and broken down into their components and recycled. And there's something, I just got this image of like us expanding into that place and then allowing that place to filter us and to wash away and to bring healing, to bring that atonement, that atonement, and to allow that החלמה and that מחליה, so that forgiveness, מחליה, החלמה, which is recovery through the חמלה, this compassion. And in Hebrew, all those words are the same letters, just, all the letters are just jumbled around. מחליה, חמלה, החלמה. So another major theme this month, or with Purim in general, is really the discussion and the question around fate and destiny. Like, how much choice do we have? How much free will do we have? We can cast the lots and let that determine what happens. And really, our astrology chart is that. It's like we're just born in a certain space and time and place, and that's the constellation that we then have as a blueprint for that lifetime. And how much choice do we have in that? How much choice do we have over the experiences that our soul is looking to have to go through that soul evolution? And it makes me think back to what I was talking about with Sarah and Abraham, because there's a midrash that says that Abraham's mazal, according to his astrology chart, he wasn't supposed to have children. And that God is above the stars. And God was then able to move and orchestrate things in a way that allowed Abraham to then have children. And so this theme of we are born with a certain constellation and how much free will and control we have over that, and also remembering that place of the unknown where there are infinite possibilities, and that source energy which is above any planet and star in our solar system. And really that's the power of this day, is really being able to tap into collectively that space and allow the emergence of something new. Hafochu. And to be able to laugh and celebrate in that knowing of not knowing. Yeah. The sages say that in the days to come, when the Mashiach comes, the Messiah arrives, that all the other festivals are going to fall away except for Purim and Chanukah. But Purim is going to stay. And we say, okay, well, what do we do on Purim? So many of the other Jewish festivals have so many different laws and rituals and things that we do. And on Purim, what do? We dress up, right? Because we're getting rid of these illusions that we have. Like, I think I know who you are. And then you put on a different mask and it's like, oh, maybe I don't really know you. Right? Or how we look at someone and think that we know them according to their appearance, and make all these judgments. And then it's like, so just the act of dressing up, which is fun and silly, is also really deep and powerful. Then we do storytelling. We gather in a group, we open the scroll, and we read the story about Esther and Achashverosh and Haman and Mordechai and Vashti and the Jewish people. We give gifts to the poor, we take care of the poor, we give gifts to our friends, and we eat good food. And those are the rituals of the day. And that's what's going to be left, like, in the days to come. Sign me up for that. Oh, there's so much depth and wisdom and beauty and mystery in all of the festivals, and especially Purim and Megillat Esther. I haven't even touched on the themes about Queen Esther herself and feminism and the divine feminine and woman, and I will have to get to those themes another time. But thank you so much for listening, and may you have a blessed full moon.